Hello everyone. Today me and Celia are gonna present about the fraud and the accounting information system. Okay, next. Okay, the first one is we're gonna talk about the accounting concept. Accounting is often classified by underlying business processes, or we usually call it accounting cycle. Okay, next. Okay, the first one there's the revenue and receipt cycle. The revenue and receipt cycle includes all systems that record the sales of goods and services and receive and record customer remittance. And we can see it on the left picture. That's the cycle of the revenue and receipt cycle. And then on the right side, there's the purchase and payables. The purchase and payable cycles, also known as the expenditure or disbursement cycle, includes all systems that record the acquisitions of goods and service for use in exchange for payment or promise to pay. And on the right side, there's the picture of the purchase and payable cycle. Okay, next. And then the third one is the general ledger and financial reporting. On the right side, you can see the picture of the general ledger and financial reporting cycle and transactions in each of the four journals. And that's the sales receipt, purchases, and expenses are summed and entered into a general ledger. And then general ledger reports can be organized in a number of ways, such as by journal totals, by main account, and by total, by month, or other cross sections. Then the amount posted on the ledger can be used to compile a statement of financial position or an income statement. Okay, next. And the last one is cash path and reconciliation. And in regard to fraud, the asset misappropriation type of fraud is almost always associated with the cash coming in or cash coming out of the business. The theft of inventory or other liquid assets is a small percentage of asset misappropriation fraud. And we already studied about the reconciliations. Reconciliations is a comparison of two related data sources to find out whether there's a difference or not. And reconciliation most closely related to fraud in bank reconciliation. And then to ensure that the transactions recorded in the journal match the bank transactions. So there's the monthly bank reconciliations prepared to check that. And then bank reconciliation is one of the function that management must supervise because fraud usually involves monitoring transactions, money going somewhere, and always leaving traces in the accounting system. Okay, next. And then next is segregation of duties. Okay, next. Sir. So in a cycle, the step in a cycle, and that's the initiating, authorizing, recording, reviewing, should be separated as much as possible to reduce the possibility of fraud happening. And if segregation of duty does not allow, control compensation for formal supervision and monitoring is required to help reduce the risk of fraud. Uh, and why there's a segregation of duties on initiating, authorizing, recording, reviewing. Uh, it should be there's it should it should have a segregations of duty because there there must be, what do you call it, rolling of the employee in the business. Okay, next, sir. Then next, we're gonna talk about the accounting information system. So there are three basic elements in a accounting information system. There is automated as opposed to manual. Okay, next, sir. The first one is the key personnel, and in the key personnel there's management, security, database, and change controls. And then for computer hardware is physical equipment, then that includes processing and communications units, and mainly various type of server, network device, and personal computers and peripheral devices from keyboard to laptop, mobile phones, and PDAs. And then the third one is the computer software, is the program that enable the computer to run. And fraud usually occurs because many users have access to data through the application, so there must be a system to process the granting of users' data to the software. And then auditors and accountants must fully understand the technologies, processes, and control to prevent, detect, and investigate the fraud. So, by having the accounting information system, the auditors and the accountant must have the, what do you call it, the ability to understand the technology to prevent the fraud from happening. Okay, next. Okay, next we're gonna talk about the key personnel. Okay, next. The first one is the management. Both system and business management over the accounting system are important in regard uh, to fraud because of two reasons. First one is the importance of culture cannot be understated, and management creates that culture in the environment uh, the management manage. And then management, the second one, management ultimately controls what happened within its department. Management can always override controls that do not reach above the given management levels of authority. Okay, next. And then next is the security. Security is in charge of, first one is to maintain network system application and data, and then manage physical access and user access to the system, and then manage parameters setting technology related to the securities, and then secure password, and face with problems such as data encryption, uh, remote access, application and data security, as well as observation and supervision, and then choosing a firewall and adapting it to the business process and needs, and keep an eye of the firewall. And then last one is assess the development, testing, or monitoring of the system of the business. Okay, next. No, no, no. Previous one. The administration. Okay. Administration. And the administrator is someone who oversees of many several types of system or data, such as network, operating system, application, or database. And database administrator help maintaining the database structure, jobs, data types, setting relationship, access to deep content, and other aspect of the database. And administrators are also often referred to as power user access, which means administrators administrators can manipulate system in their domain at will. Okay. Um. Thank you. And next, gonna present by my friend Surya.
Okay, the next key personnel is the change control. And the change control department provides quality assurance of the process to modify programs, database settings, and infrastructure components. For example, when we update the software or when we have a fixation, or when the program get bugs and then the department change it. So the change control must control first about the changes. The department is important because program changes can affect how application or jobs manipulate data, and direct changes in data values are difficult to automatically record and monitor. The department must ensure that the first change request has been approved and is valid. So when the change control should check where the change request already approved by the authorized person in the company, and then tests have been carried out and documented. So the test of the change control must be already uh, carried out and documented, so the change control can see in the change log, and then changes have been converted into production by eligible individuals. So who perform the change, perform the update must be done by the eligible individuals. And then continue. Then project management. Project management is very important because it is responsible for successful implementation of organizational IT system components. The urgency of program project management is to avoid or to minimize the project risk. The project risk is one reason why project management is important to an organization and may become important in audit. So the project risk is concerned like how the project comply with the deadline, with the cost, something like that. And then project management best practice result in a substantial degree of documentation throughout the project. So in every process of the project, the documentation about approval, about meeting, something like that, it should be always documented, something like that. And then the other is the computer operator. So the computer operator is the person who controls and monitor about the uh, computer used in the enterprise, something like that. And then the librarian, I don't know is it is still relevant or not, but librarian is the person who usually uh, stay in the room that the room say store uh, like CD cassette and then DVD drive, something like that, that it contains of the data. I think it's for now in this digital era, it's more database administrator is more uh, relevant, I think. And then the next is computer hardware. All of computer hardware provides some convenience at the cost of risk exposed by their presence. The risks do not change anything from a fraud audit perspective, but potentially provide new means to perpetrate a fraud. The first computer hardware is the data preparation equipment. What it is? The data preparation equipment is used to convert the data into a machine readable format. So it is a hardware, but the use is to read the data. For example, like the CD drives, and then DVD, and then maybe hard disk, solid state drive, something like that. So it helps the computer to read the data, and maybe also can be used to store it. And then the second is the input devices. What is this? Input equipment includes some such components as keyboard and video screen that show what is being entered, display instruction, and format for inputting. For example, we input our we input the data, or we input our mind to the computer. We use the keyboard, mouse, scanners to input the physical paper and to the computer, touch screen, something like that for now. And then CD-ROM, for example. And then the next, central processing unit. So the central processing unit is the or or usually called CPU or processor. It is the heart of the computer. It contains a series of operating programs and a translator that converts data into machine language. So uh, we can see that not only the heart, it's only in the core or the brains of the computer. So uh, how the data will be processed is based on the speed, the speed, more the speed will be depends to the central processing unit. When we talk about error here, the CPU already sometimes it support ECC memory, so it can avoid uh, blue screen or error in the computer, something like that. And then output devices. Output equipment includes printers, video display screen, and plotters, so like the monitors, like the printers. And then the output device is always improved following with the technology uh, development. Note that outputted devices do not edit data and it just display to the users. So therefore are not particularly relevant to fraud audit. It's just for knowledge. And then the last of the computer hardware is the communication devices. A host of communication devices exists in the typical organizational system infrastructure. Routers, switch, hubs, and then modems. It's uh, help the devices, the computer to connect to the internet or to the network. Uh, for now, we see like in the cell phones, two-way radios, and PDS, all with internet capabilities, which may increase fraud risk. Why? Because of the portability. It's easier for us to connect to the internet, to connect to the, for example, to the company program from the uh, company building itself, something like that. And the next is computer software. Some software is the generic name for computer programs and their documentation. Software can consist of operating and application. The first is operating. In this case, we use the operating systems. Consists of program that keep the computer running as automatically as possible. Coordinate coordinate computer functions between the application software and the computer hardware. And then the control access to file directories or path and directly to files. And then most of operating systems are constantly sending out upgrades or patch to fix identify security weakness, and thus outdated system increase the chance of fraud. Like we, by example, we usually get monthly update or yearly update for the our computer, our Windows or Android phone or iPhone or iOS, something like that. That it's patched to fixing bugs or to give better security for the for our device, because the security uh, cannot handle unrecorded or unpatched uh, thread, something like that. And then application software. Application software consists of computer programs that apply the computer to the user's needs by carrying out an organizational task the user wants performed. Application software is venerable because it is increasingly taken on networked forms. The normal four-step sequence of instruction in an application program is the first, read the information entered and then process it, and then update existing file in the computer's memory with the information, output the new information by displaying, printing, or storing it. Yeah, something like that. We usually practice, it's very practicable. And then the next is the new forms of media. The first is the trend of portability. Several portable media like flash disk, PDS, and then optical storage media, it's a DVD drive, and then internet and intranet storage and cell phones. It's going far, and it's more easier to use. And then fraud auditors and especially forensic accountants should be aware of, know how to search for and understand how to handle the various forms of media storage. And then email. I don't think email is still relevant or not, but we still have here. Email stores a vast amount of data, sometimes critical to the organization and sometimes revealing a fraud. But email communication supplied evidence of fraud in maybe in 90s and 20s. But today, plus fraudster communicate clandestine using email. We usually more like to use our private communication like a telephone or maybe a WhatsApp, Telegram, something like that, which peer-to-peer. And then with the business world tightly connected and ever communicating, email will undoubtedly become a critical aspect of fraud auditing. Then the last is audit trail concept. In every transaction, there is a bigger process occurring than the transaction itself. The accounting cycles described earlier depict the typical processes overlying business transactions. So this is the first audit trails. Audit trails are a series of items of evidence in the recording of a transaction through the accounting information system. And then single items of evidence are associated with other evidence and form the path the transaction has taken. Like with when the system record a transaction, it's not only, for example, it records receivable and cash, no, but also about the general ledger and then also about the uh, record of the who who performed, who record this transaction, or maybe it when it is uh, recorded, something like that. And then certain elements connect those document and verify each other. In fraud audit, the amount, approval, and other transaction detail found in the audit trail are critical importance to the audit, like I said before. Audit trail in computerized system, the data either went somewhere or it did not, was edited or was not, and is correct or it is not. The difficulty in providing either of those in an automated system is that the audit trail can be a bit more complex, vague, or less reliable. The audit trail concept is dependent on one assumption: some indication always existing describing the transaction details. So one indication is related with another fact uh, related with the transaction details. And then determining whether forensic evidence exists in record of accounts, logs, and other audit trail sources requires an objective and investigate mindset and a walk down the cash trail. Okay, thank you.